What's going on, everybody? Boa noite, Alex. How are you?
Olá, boa noite. Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm really excited with tonight's show. It was a great, great, great show.
It was, and it was pretty rare for Festival da Canção with how the voting went, because often we see quite spread out votes, and still got some sound coming in here. Often we see some pretty spread out votes, right? So the winner isn't always a unanimous decision between the jury and televote. But this time we have a unanimous winner. It's Maro with Saudade Saudade, a song that seems to be leaving an impression on a lot of people, as we've noticed. And yeah, especially the fact that it was a unanimous winner when we saw so many people coming in who were very well-known artists in Portugal. So first and foremost, I want to know, what do you think about our winner?
Well, I loved her song since the beginning as well. When I heard it for the first time in the studio version, I thought, maybe this live won't work because I can see some arrangements, computer arrangements, and I was surprised because there wasn't. And that's her. That's how she sings, and it was so perfect, so perfect. She was really great, and she nailed it in this final because the staging in the semifinal wasn't that good. She was like all the time so still, and so without life. And now she put some color. She put some backing vocals, and they did great. Honestly, I think the staging was so much better, and she can do even better for Eurovision. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, well, we saw such a glow up last year with the Black Mambo from, I mean, they had a concept when it came to Festival da Canção and their performance, but it was really elevated by the time we saw it at Eurovision. And a lot of people on our team were saying like it was a guaranteed qualifier, and like it qualified quite safely. I think it was fourth in the semifinal. Obviously, the score in the final was a bit different, but still left hand side of the scoreboard. One of the best results that we've seen for Portugal when considering like the last decade. And so yeah, my hope would certainly be that it could be taken even further. I am really happy though that we did see that substantial change from the semifinal to the final, because it seemed like a pretty unanimous opinion that the staging that we saw the first time around really wasn't cutting it. So it seems that she really listened to the feedback and made a commitment to elevate it.
Actually.
Yeah, we saw quite a few changes. Even Ciro, we saw him add backup singers to his song, and I think that really added a lot to it as well. But yeah, so I mean, now that we have most of our songs for Eurovision, we're still waiting on, I guess, 2 now. I'm curious, what are your early impressions about how this could do?
Well, there are too many ballads, and I think this is also another ballad, but a different one. So I did some notes with about all the performance of tonight, and for this one I wrote for Maro. I wrote it was mystical, it was beautiful, and deep. Those are the 3 adjectives that I felt when I saw her performance. Really, really deep.
And so I guess maybe the task at hand is really keeping that feeling for the staging, because as we mentioned, it was definitely elevated, but you can go a lot further, and hopefully, I think with that in mind, we could get a pretty decent result. Definitely, well, maybe not definitely a qualification, because as you mentioned, there's lots of ballads this year. This one, at least I would say, has its own sound. There's a lot of like filters that go on over the instrumentation, and there's some detuning as well, which I think really gives it, a sound of its own. People, I don't think, are going to get it confused with other ones that we have. But yeah, I mean, obviously lots to see. Before we go any further, though, let's say hello to some people in the live. And if you're watching us, don't be afraid to leave some comments. We'd love to know what you have to say about our winner. It's Maro with Saudade Saudade. And let us know if there were other songs tonight that you were hoping to see win, or which ones you were let down by. Let us know. Norwegian Blue saying, a worthy winner indeed. Rye Bailey, not a fan. More and more, I know how to anticipate Rye Bailey's responses to winners. But you are very happy about Cornelia from Sweden tonight. Hello to Jessica. Jessica is liking the Portuguese entry. Nice to know. Hello again to Fernanda. How do you feel? Are you happy with the winner? Who else did you like tonight? Why don't I go to you about that as well, Alex? Who were you impressed by tonight?
Well, my thoughts were on Quattro e Meia since the beginning. I love those guys, and I was really. But I thought, well, if they win, could they go far on Eurovision? I don't know. But I always let myself speak for my emotions and for what I feel or for what I like. I don't think, okay, will it be good in Eurovision? Who cares? It's what I like. It's what I like. So I follow my heart on those things, and they really went well. And then FEF. I
Oh
know
yeah.
for many people, it's old-fashioned, blah blah blah, but he's so talented. It's impossible for me not to talk about him and how he feels music. If you love music, you can see by the way that a singer expresses himself in the stage, and that's FF. He has always been like this. He doesn't care about being a pop star. He was till 18 years old, then he decided to change everything and follow a more modest career, and I think he was great, even though. And Aurea, she's great for me. She's a great singer. She was spectacular, and Ciro, also brilliant in my opinion. Those were who stand out for me, in my opinion.
And I would say those are also standouts for me. There's a few more that I have, but certainly with regards to Os Quattro e Meia and FF, the fact that their performances were so visual, and I just loved the thought that was put into that, because what we've seen in the past for Festival da Canção performances have not always put like visuals top of mind. Of course, I definitely prefer that the music has always been top of mind, but those ones really showed a development in the production of Festival da Canção, and I expect that in the years to come we will get more performances like that, because yeah, like camera work was great for both of them. The mirroring that we had for Os Quattro e Meia, I think it was simple but effective. And then I loved pretty much every moment of FF's performance when it came to camera work, the extreme close-ups on his face.
So,
Yeah, there's this one moment where the light comes from behind him, and it's just so perfect. And certainly, like him as a performer, he's just really likable, and I understand that he's also an actor, and you can really tell by the way that he performs the songs. So definitely those. And then I definitely also want to mention Pongo and Tristani, because they just had such a unique song in general, such a powerful performance. Another one that I would say was elevated. They added a few things. The coat that Pongo was wearing before she revealed herself. I loved the lighting in that, and just their energy too. We're getting a lot of comments, and
wild.
yeah, we're getting a lot of comments, so I'm gonna go to those. Norwegian Blue saying the only thing I didn't like about the results is how poorly Inês Omen de Mello scored by the juries. I mean, yeah, I recall thinking that was quite low. I think when it comes to a selection like this, where there are 10 songs and they all get ranked, everybody gets points, right? It is a shame, because I would have a really hard time deciding like who to put on top of who, and especially because there were so many familiar faces that people were expecting were going to really pull in the points. It doesn't surprise me in some ways that there was such a spread, but I mean, I certainly would have liked to see her get a little bit higher, but I don't know. How did you feel about Inês?
Well, Inês, she's not a singer, as you know. She's a psychiatrist, and
Yeah.
she was having fun. She was so uplifting. She seems to be a beautiful person. She gave it all. She was enjoying the moment. If you noticed from the social media, she was the one among them all that lived the moment for the most. She was happy. She was really thrilled with the moment. Of course, I was expecting a little bit more, because almost all of them change a lot from the semi-final to the final, and she did the same. So was not a big surprise, not new elements. So maybe vocally I wasn't expecting, because, as I said, she's not a singer. She never had voice lessons. I don't know. For example, Ciro studied music, jazz, so he can do whatever he wants with his voice. Inês, I don't know. She was having fun. She was enjoying the moment. But I think it was a great performance as well.
I'm going to pull up this comment from Nelson saying, I love what Alex said when he mentioned he goes by his feeling and not by what can be successful at Eurovision. And I think that if there was any year where you could have that from so many countries, it's this one, because my current favorite right now is Serbia, which is a very divisive entry if you if you ask other people. How do you feel about Serbia?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think it is.
Cool. So as expected, I think it's not too much of a surprise that some people are not totally won over by the song. Vincent F is saying it's a beautiful song, but I have to admit I'm not rushing to add it to my playlist. And my Stemo 1980 saying I just can't see this pushing any of the other released acts out of that top 10. Maybe some magical staging might lift this. Yeah, and we were talking about the glow up that we saw from last year. I mean, I also too see it having a hard time getting right into the top 10, but I don't know. I like to think that it's a possibility. There's just so much to see between now and Eurovision, and because this year feels almost like an anti-Eurovision year, because there's so many entries that just we haven't seen before. It seems like a lot of people are taking risks, and to me that's exciting. Like, I think we're gonna have quite a few surprises and heartbreaks on those semifinals, certainly.
We always do.
Yeah, I mean, we always do, but I think this is going to be
this year specifically.
very difficult to call. At least not until we start seeing the fully developed stages. Fernanda's saying everyone performed very well, all of them much better than before. Overall, I'm happy. Maro's song has a very unique quality to it, and the beat is good. It can only improve. Daniel saying it's a nightmare, this Festival da Canção, the jury in public. I mean, they agreed. They were on the same page, and you don't get that all the time. But I mean, again, lots of favorites here. Even for yourself, Alex, like you had
totally.
you had songs that you were really liking. Paulo saying Portugal at Eurovision is not about the show-stopping tunes, although it has some. It's more about songs that create a journey and/or moment. I like that description. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's all about the feeling, all about what. I don't know if you notice, because you don't speak Portuguese very well, but I know that you understand some things. But the juries were saying, at least two of them said, they changed their votes. They already had their list, their votes all made, and they changed everything during the tonight's show. So we live a lot for the moment, for the feeling, for what you bring to me in this exact moment. It's probably the concept that I will have about you and music and everything in general. So it's so true what he said.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that actually speaks to how Eurovision works too, because we talk about the strengths of every song, the strengths of the performances and the staging, and there is so much that's circumstantial, right? Like if you were to take a song out of one year and put it into another year, it would get a completely different result. So it really, I think, just illustrates the fact that it is about that moment, right? About where does that song land in the mix of everything, and what is the effect that it creates. And I think that even last year, the fact that Måneskin brought this, electrifying rock performance in a year where so many people had been deprived of that experience, I think that definitely, yeah, exactly. I think that definitely added to the reasons why they won. What else are you saying? Safe is saying, I actually preferred Millianas, but Saudade is also a beautiful song. So I had to catch up after following Melfest and then doing the live. I noticed that we also had some additions with Millianas' performance. She had people behind her. And were they always placed on her dress?
Yes, they were. I was expecting a a little bit more of that because okay, let me see what will happen. So, but that's how it went. So I didn't get the idea very well. Maybe
Well,
our
I
viewers
mean,
can help me if they saw something that I didn't.
I mean, the song is Corpo de Mujer, like body of a woman,
Yeah,
right? And I think
yeah,
it's just, you know, something to complement that idea. And one thing that Clara mentioned that she really liked from that performance was the fact when in her semifinal performance she was by herself, but she
yes,
had this large dress that actually hid her body so that, you know, you would focus more on her face and, you know, the words that she was singing. So I thought it was another way of portraying that was actually quite, you know, almost the opposite of what Clara was saying before. But I mean, very elegant song,
yeah,
wonderfully performed.
totally,
I
totally.
I wouldn't have chose it for Eurovision, but I'm glad that it got a pretty good result. Um, uh, Nelson
Another one
saying,
that stood out, if you remember, when we heard the studio version and then sawing it live, it changed a lot.
yeah, for Millianas.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that even earlier, well, you know, when we just had the songs, I saw it qualifying,
Okay.
just because, you know, there was an elegance to it, and then I also thought that maybe the fact that Azir wrote it,
Yeah,
would have given it
it
some
helped a lot.
clout. But yeah, it was not too much of a surprise that it won, especially after seeing it live.
Mhm.
And Fernanda's saying, so hold on, I'll go back to what Nelson's saying. Risky entry, such as Sweden. I don't know what you mean by that. Um, Vincent F saying, there's a lot of ballads this year. I think outliers will do well. That's possible. It might be that whatever doesn't fall under a ballad, or like, you know, the general description of a ballad might have that advantage, for not being a ballad. Um, Fernanda saying, different woman with different bodies. Yeah, referring to Millianas. Luis saying, as a Portuguese, I'm tired of ballads and we need something more upbeat. We need to stop being sad and melancholic. So what would have been your choice? Because we did have a lot of ballads in this final, with the exception of a few. So I'm curious which one you would have wanted.
Yeah.
We've got Stephen asking Alex, can I quote Aurea? Why? You're
Yeah.
a big fan of Aurea.
Sorry.
You're a big fan of Aurea, right?
Totally, totally. I love Ardia. I love
Mm-hmm.
since the beginning. I think
I,
she's so amazing. She's such a wonderful person.
mm-hmm. I was always really quite like intrigued by her as a person, and I would love to see her come back. And honestly, to me, it wouldn't matter if the song was in English or Portuguese, because even though I wasn't like a really big fan of her song this time around, I
Hmm.
appreciated
Hmm.
the elegance behind it, and I think that she could easily do something that's even better than that.
Yeah, she can. She can.
Um,
I don't know. I don't know if you agree with me, but the sense that I have, it's that, for example, Ciro did the same. They are 2 minutes singing very slowly and very calm, and
mhm.
then okay, it's last minute. I'm going to give it all, and then well, why can't they do that in the middle of the song and then keep the level and do something different?
Well, I mean, I think that one thing you definitely don't want to do is tire yourself out too quickly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When I think about other selections from this year, like one of the earliest ones that we had was Albania, and I don't know if you saw any of the songs from Albania this year,
No, no.
but one of the favorites was Alban with Theia, and it was a great song. I would have been very happy for it to win, but he really struggled with the live because there was a lot of belting, and then there was even this one note that was about 10 seconds long. So, you know, you do have to still work within your means, right? And
Mhm.
I think that if you're going to go so intensely right off the bat, then
Yeah,
you risk really running out of steam very quickly. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know,
Makes
that's
sense.
uh, that's my thought. Yeah. Um, Louis saying we got good rap and very good other songs that could have more potential than this one. You're right. We do have we've seen lots of great rap at Festival de Canção. I my favorite from 2020 was Jimmy P.
Oh,
That
Jimmy
one,
Page. Yeah.
yeah, I really like that song.
He's
Um,
a famous rapper here. He was
yeah.
already when he participated there.
Mhm. And I also like the fact that because we see in other selections that sometimes having a lot of clout or fame can really solidify a good result, but in this case, you know, it really
Didn't.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's good that if you are an independent artist or you know an up and coming artist, that you actually have a chance. Nelson showing some love for
That's good. I'm
absolutely,
glad.
yeah. Nelson showing some love for Pongo. Yes, I'm going to be listening to Degradé for a long time after
Really?
this. Yeah, yeah. Um, Fernanda also talking about Pongo and Tristani improved a lot today. They were in tune and the performance was assertive. So the thing is, I didn't feel like they were that out of tune the first time. I see what people are saying, but it, I don't know. It didn't matter to me because for me it was more about their presence, and I especially loved the way that they were always keeping body contact with each other
Yeah.
because it was just this expression of love as far as I'm concerned, and you know the resilience in the song. How did you feel about them?
Well, the first time that I heard the song in the studio version, I was okay. 1 minute, I'm tired. I don't like it. And then after some time, and after listening it to several times, because I did with all the songs, I was getting into it, but I was expecting a little bit more about the staging. I
Mm,
was expecting, dancers, tribal dancers, maybe something visually stronger. I
hmm
agree with all the things that you said about the chemistry between both of them, always together, and that was a nice chemistry. But I think that people were expecting a little bit more uh, about them in terms of staging. That's why maybe that's why they didn't went uh, more far in the classification. I don't know.
hmm Yeah, and I was always thinking about that too because while I certainly love lots of parts of it, especially when compared to some of the other performances that we saw that were very well-rounded visually, it did seem to lack something in those more up-tempo moments. Like I thought the
Yes.
lower energy
Yes.
parts where it was mostly Tristany singing, I thought that
Mhm.
visually those all looked great. So there was something that maybe could have been added, and I love the idea of taking this to Eurovision to really kind of flesh it out because I think that would have been really exciting.
But the
Um,
mix of sounds was very good, very good.
yeah, very like I kind of feel like this might be the most energetic song we've ever seen at Festival
Yes,
de
yes,
Canção.
totally, totally. I'm
Yeah.
glad it is, and I'm glad that things are changing, and it was so much diversity on the songs.
hmm Willem Verleen says, "Hope to see Pongo represent Portugal in the future." Yeah, totally. Um, Safe saying, I like the style of Degradé and Pongo especially, but the song was not my favorite, to be honest. If you haven't done so already, Safe, check out a performance that she did of the song called Bruxos.
Bruce.
She's just a joy to watch. That one is a little bit more like, it's got a different feeling to it, and she's making all these faces, and really, she's got moves. I'll say that much. She's very likable.
She's really expressive. Her face, she got mean eyes. She was.
Yeah, well, and I see that as a way of you know expressing the confidence because in the song, like it comes at you very quickly, and I don't fully understand it. I've tried looking at translations of it to try and get a better
Mhm.
idea, and I think I get a general idea of it. But the way that I see it is that Tristany is kind of representing have the feelings of doubt and uncertainty about who he is, about the fact that you know he comes from I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but you know that he's not what he's supposed to be is what he says in the song. And then Pongo is that kind of assertiveness of being like, no, you know, believe in yourself. It's you know this isn't this idea that you have is not what it is. You know, you have space in this world. Um,
Yes, yes.
yeah, we got Jose agreeing here. Bruxos by Pongo is amazing. Rodrigo is not a fan. He says the final results were shameful this year. I really like Maro's song, but Ciro getting 6 points and finishing in 9th place is just shameful. Same with Aurea placing 5th. We did talk a little bit about Ciro, but how did you feel about him overall?
That's Ciro. Maybe a lot of comments that I saw about him was, okay, another song of Ciro, because for Portuguese people, we are used to these kind of songs, but it's a song for Eurovision. So what's the problem? The rest of the Europe doesn't know him, so that's okay by me. And still was a great song. He did it well, so I don't see any flaws on his performance. So I don't get it why. But yeah, that's what he told. Strong songs, and people were confused, and somebody has to be first, second, third. It's not necessarily because they didn't like the song, that the song wasn't good, but the votes were all mixed up, and the final counting was this one. So that's life.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, and there are only so many spots, right? So when you have to rank people, like, I think that maybe for some people, because ranking is such a big thing of being a Eurovision fan, right? When I try and do it, like I always end up doing it in the end, but there's always certain chunks where I'm like, do I really like this song more than the 5 below it or above it? And I don't know, like if it were. Yeah, and if it were my responsibility to be like, okay, not only am I going to do this ranking, but it's also going to impact the future of at least one of these artists. Like that's a big responsibility in my opinion. So I mean, I don't know. I really liked Ciro. I thought that he was in a pretty good spot to win, and I was definitely expecting a better result. But other players in here, as we've mentioned, so it's just. This is like the kind of selection that you want, right? When it feels competitive. And I hope that in the future, we get more Eurovision fans kind of paying attention to this one, because people don't really, I feel like people sleep on Portugal a lot,
Totally. Always did. And okay, maybe because they are not used to feel that Portugal brings strong entries, and they think, from the past, that the examples from the past, so boring songs, melancholic songs, and other ballads. But then again, maybe things can change. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like if people watch the whole thing, like, sure, their favorite might not win, but there's always modern songs. Like, last year I think of Saudades, the singular Saudades.
Finally, a song with Saudade won.
Yeah. It's not Festival da Canção without a song about Saudade, right?
Never.
Well, since we're talking about this, do you feel like Saudade as a concept isn't translatable in your opinion, or do you think that maybe that's over exaggerated?
I think it's over exaggerated. Okay, you can translate in a few words, but it's when you say I miss something, that's not exactly saudade, because saudade, you can express saudade about a person that died, a person that is not next to you, your childhood, memories. It's very generical. But I think that, as you said, it's overreactive. It's not that only we have Saudade. And no, I don't think so.
I do like, though, that the way that she approaches the song is quite smart, because it's almost like she's trying to explain it in English, but then she kind of resigns to the fact that, like, in this moment, because yeah, exactly, she can't say it in a better way. And for people who don't know, the song is about her grandfather, losing her grandfather, which I assume was quite recent. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like having that as kind of a defense for, like, these are my words, and the word that I'm choosing right now is saudade, because nothing else says it in a better way.
Yeah, but it's only one word. It's more simple, maybe that, but everybody has that in their own language.
Yeah, I mean, I see the way that I see it is that in order to properly translate it in English, I guess you have to elaborate a bit. It's not like one word goes directly to the next, so you have to expand upon it.
Yeah, a little bit.
But nonetheless, one more from Neil Era, Saudade, Saudade. So, Alex, can you believe that we do not have any more national selections?
Really?
Yeah, this is the last one.
Oh my God.
And we're only, I believe, now 2 songs short of having all 40, because it's Armenia and Azerbaijan that has not released their song. I might be forgetting one, but I think that's it, because we had our 3 today, Sweden, Iceland, and Portugal. So why don't we, before we go, what is your top 3 right now?
Okay, I must say I didn't listen to all the songs. For example, Sweden, Iceland, I didn't listen to all the songs. I won't vote for Portugal, of course. That wasn't fair. And I can say I didn't thought about this, but I can say Switzerland, France, and the UK.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. But
cool.
but I'm always changing my mind, and in a week, if you ask me again, maybe it will be different. So let's see.
Yeah, and I mean,
What about you?
Well, I at the moment, if trying to recall the top 3 that I have right now, I would say it would be Ukraine, Sweden, and Serbia in reverse order from 3rd to 1st. As I said, like Serbia is a very divisive entry. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of great songs this year. I think that, as we were saying before, like it's going to be so interesting to see how these songs do in May, because it's just an unpredictable year.
Yeah, they change a lot then in stage and the revamps and all the stuff.
Yeah,
it's very early.
I don't know how many more revamps we should expect, because I know that some are in the works, and in fact, actually, technically, it is believed that Malta is going to change their song as well. So that's been what's been hinted at, and we should be finding out, because there's this song that's being released either tomorrow or the day after from Emma, and it seems like that's going to be the entry that they actually go with. So maybe it'll be another one to keep our eyes on, or maybe not.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll leave it there, because I'm sure it's late for you. Certainly, it's not that late for me. But thank you so much for everyone who has joined us throughout the national selection season. What comes next? Obrigado. And what comes next are the pre-parties, which we are expecting to be at. Not me, because I'm a bit further away, but the rest of our team does plan on going out to those pre-parties and meeting some of our artists for Eurovision before we actually get to see their performance. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Eurovoxx, because we'd love for you to keep the conversation going with us and tell us about what your favorites are, who you're expecting to see win the show in the end, and all the other things that we talk about when it comes to Eurovision. And if you have tuned in to any of these broadcasts or watched any of our videos up to now, thank you so much. We love your support, and we hope to see you some more. So I guess that's really it. Boa noite, and we'll see you next time.